Imagine having this biological ticking clock just inside your own body.
Ugh, yeah, like a literal timer.
Exactly. Like, if you don't actually submerge yourself in the ocean every single 24 hours,
Yeah.
your organs just slowly start to shut
You
down.
basically dry out
Mhm.
from the inside.
Right. Now, take that and imagine you are magically locked on a landmass. Like you are completely unable to reach the water that keeps you alive.
It's terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that is the very visceral, just suffocating reality for the protagonist of T.R. Sherring's A Tale of Cursed Tides.
Yeah, and it completely shatters that sparkling Disney-fied illusion we usually bring to mermaid folklore.
Oh, 100%.
Like, we are so conditioned to expect the pure hero, the obvious villain, and the neat little happily ever after bow. But Sherring tosses all of that out, gives us a world defined entirely by trauma and really just sheer survival.
Which is why I'm so excited for today. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is unpacking the lore, the twisted mechanics, and the incredibly murky morality of this exact source material.
Because if you just read the back cover...
Oh yeah, it totally looks like a classic fantasy romance. You've got the Mermaid Princess, the Mortal Prince, a wicked curse.
The standard tropes.
Right. But we are going to explore how this narrative is actually this really brutal study of captivity. I mean, it is layered with dark magic, a genuinely terrifying murder mystery, and villains who act as these, like, dark, distorted reflections of the heroes themselves.
Yeah, and to even begin to understand the decisions these characters make, we have to look at the environment our protagonist is operating in.
Princess Alara.
Right, Alara. So Alara is a Valkyran, specifically a Mer, and she lives in this archipelago kingdom of Antilios. But there is a massive, just suffocating catch here.
Yeah.
For the last 22 years, the entire kingdom has been trapped behind this completely impenetrable magical barrier.
And we should clarify, this isn't just like a political border dispute.
No, not at all.
To grasp the stakes here, you have to put yourself in Alara's shoes and look at the unique biology of the Mer in this universe. Because Sherring doesn't use standard folklore.
No, they don't live underwater.
Exactly.
Hmm.
These Mers don't build, sparkly castles under the sea. They actually have a highly sophisticated society on land. But their biology is inexorably tied to the tide.
Yeah.
If they don't return to the ocean daily to replenish themselves, they die. Full stop. And when they do enter the water, the magic physically transforms their legs back to a powerful tail.
It's such a cool concept. It takes that whimsical, almost romantic idea of a mermaid and turns it into a severe, biological vulnerability.
Think of it like, okay, it's like having a smartphone.
Okay, I like this.
Right. But you have a smartphone that has to be plugged into one specific wall outlet every 24 hours, or it literally explodes.
That is stressful.
It is. You can function for a little while, you can walk around and live your life, but eventually your battery's going to drain and your body's going to scream for a recharge.
Yeah, every second spent away from the shore is a second spent depleting your life force.
Which makes that magical barrier around Ventilios a literal matter of life and death every single day.
What's fascinating here is the psychological toll of that existence, which Sherring maps out just beautifully. This barrier isn't just a physical boundary,
No.
it is an emotional quarantine. The text gives us these haunting, devastating details, like the Mer build these intricate underwater monuments.
Whoa, the cenotaphs?
Yes, at the absolute edge of the barrier. They literally swim down and mourn loved ones who were caught on the outside when the curse fell 22 years ago.
That part broke my heart.
Right. They mourn them as if they're dead, even though those relatives might be living just a few miles away. But they're invisible through the magic. It's this gilded cage, and it's overseen by Alara's grandmother, Queen Kallianassa the Cold.
And Kallianassa absolutely earns that title. I mean, she rules with an iron fist. She keeps Alara incredibly sheltered.
She's very controlling.
Super controlling.
Yeah.
The queen is basically entirely focused on prepping Alara for her ascension ball. Because in Valkyran royal bloodlines, a royal's 22nd birthday is when their elevated magical powers are supposed to manifest.
But Alara hasn't shown any signs of this power yet.
Right. Which makes her feel deeply defective. And of course, the birthday ball is the inciting incident where everything just completely goes wrong.
Oh, naturally. That's when the architect of their suffering finally shows her face.
With the crow.
Yep. A witch known only as the Crow just steps right through this supposedly impenetrable barrier.
The crow crashes the party and offers Alara a bargain. She promises to completely shatter the 22-year curse on Ventilios.
But there's a price.
Always a price.
Yeah.
Alara just has to go to the mortal world, make Prince Parvin of Solverdun fall madly in love with her, and then intentionally, ruthlessly break his heart.
And she has to do it before the next full moon. On paper, I mean, it sounds like a pretty straightforward heist of the heart. Go in, get the boy to fall for you, dump him, save your kingdom.
Simple, right. But the mechanics of this heist require Alara to actively suppress her own biology.
Which is the most dangerous part.
Entering the mortal world isn't as simple as just walking through a portal. Mortals in this world despise magic. If she is caught as a mer, she will be dissected or burned.
The stakes are so high.
So to survive away from the ocean without her organs just shutting down, the crow gives Alara a very specific, rare potion.
Oh, I love the lore behind this potion. It's fascinating. The text mentions it smells strongly of fennel.
Yes.
And in Sherring's magic system, fennel acts as an earthly grounding agent. It essentially binds aquatic magic to the soil. So by drinking this potion at the exact same time every day, Alara anchors her biology to the land.
But it comes with a terrifying caveat.
Oh, always.
If she touches seawater while bound by this potion, the binding snaps. Her legs will instantly, violently split back into a tail, completely exposing her to the mortal court.
And the crow doesn't exactly, ease her into this transition either.
No. The witch literally drops Alara off the coast of Solverdun right into the middle of a devastating maritime swarm.
Thrusting her immediately into a brutal survival situation. I mean, she's in the water, so she's in her mer form, fighting a murderous sea.
And she has to use her innate water magic to swim through all this wreckage. She's desperately looking for a way to the shore where Prince Tarvin's castle is.
Yeah.
But during the chaos, she spots a drowning mortal girl. And Alara, being Alara, she saves her. She drags her to the beach, only to find out this girl is Princess Amelie.
Prince Tarvin's younger sister.
Exactly. So by doing this one act of genuine heroism, Alara accidentally endears herself to the entire royal family.
It's the perfect setup.
It gives her the perfect, unassailable cover story. She's suddenly this mysterious, heroic noblewoman from a distant land.
And it places her directly in the center of the mortal court. She has unprecedented access to her target.
Okay, but I have to pause here because I struggled with this premise initially.
Oh, really? How come?
Let's unpack this for a second. Think about the crow's motivation here. This is an ancient, notoriously cruel witch who has kept an entire nation hostage for 2 decades.
Right.
Why would she offer a loophole that just involves giving a random mortal prince a bad breakup?
It seems a little trivial.
Yes. Isn't that suspiciously specific and, petty for a centuries-old blood curse? It feels like a high school drama plot.
Well, I think you are supposed to feel that friction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when Alara questions the crow about this bizarre requirement, the witch frames it as a test of cruelty. She claims she wants to see if Alara can do the one thing her late mother couldn't do, intentionally destroy the person she loves.
Oh, so it plays perfectly into Alara's insecurity about being weak.
Exactly, and being defective.
So she just accepts it because she's so desperate to save her people.
But we should keep your question in mind. Because if we look at how magic functions in this universe, nothing is ever just a psychological test. Magic is transactional.
Yeah.
There is always an ulterior motive, always a hidden gear turning beneath the surface.
Well, and Alara doesn't really have time to ponder those hidden gears anyway, because her carefully planned romance heist hits a massive brick wall.
A very bloody brick wall.
Yeah, it is really hard to seduce a prince when his courtiers keep turning up dead in the dungeons.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mood killer.
The narrative suddenly shifts. We go from this tense undercover romance into a full-blown, chilling murder mystery.
The atmosphere in the castle just turns into sheer paranoia.
Because people are being slaughtered, nobles, servants, it doesn't matter. And their bodies are found carved with these gruesome, dark magic symbols.
It's so visceral.
The victims include a prominent noble, Lord Highwell. Then, tragically, Alara's own trusted maid, Runa, is found murdered.
That was rough.
And they even find a local witch, a woman named Beja, who had been secretly helping the mortals. She's found completely beheaded in the forest, pinned to a tree with silver yew arrows.
Which means for Alara, the stakes just compound exponentially.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she is already terrified of the mortals discovering she is a mer. Now, she realizes there is a dark magic practitioner loose in the castle who seems to know exactly what she is.
Leaving her these targeted, threatening notes.
Right, to keep her trapped in the royal court.
The reveal of who is actually behind these murders genuinely made me gasp.
It's so good.
The mastermind is Livia. Up until this point, Livia has been this incredibly friendly, supportive, noble woman.
Yeah, the nice lady.
The nice lady. And she was actually married to the first victim, Lord Highwell. But the shock isn't just that the nice lady is the killer, it's what Livia actually is.
Right.
Because she isn't just a witch, she is a Selkie.
And Sherring weaponizes traditional folklore here in such a brilliant way.
Seriously.
Listeners are probably familiar with standard Selkie myths, right? A mythical being who lives as a seal in the water, but can shed their skin to become human on land. Usually these stories frame the Selkie as a tragic, weeping victim whose skin is stolen by a mortal man, forcing her to be his wife.
Which is exactly what happened to Livia. Decades ago, Lord Highwell stole and burned her Selkie hide. He permanently trapped her on land, forcing her into this hollow, miserable marriage.
Yeah.
She has literally been slowly suffocating, entirely severed from the sea she needs to survive.
But instead of remaining a passive victim weeping on a rock, Livia's trauma has curdled into complete sadistic violence.
Oh,
She is an active serial killer. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, thematically, she serves as a terrifying mirror to Alara.
Oh, I see that. Both of them are aquatic, magical beings.
Exactly.
Both are locked on land against their will. Both are forced to play these polite, suppressed roles in a mortal court that would absolutely kill them if they knew the truth.
It explores the different ways prolonged captivity destroys the soul. We are looking at assimilated trauma versus isolated trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Alara was isolated behind a barrier with her own people, suppressing her true self to save them. Livia was assimilated forcefully into the society of her abusers, so she is suppressing her true self to enact a brutal, scorched earth revenge.
And her revenge plan is horrifying. Remember those dark magic symbols she was carving into the bodies?
Oh, the runes.
Yeah, they were runes. It was preparation for a flesh-crafting ritual. She was brewing a potion to essentially hijack someone else's existence so she could finally escape the mortal realm.
Dark stuff.
And the ritual requires some deeply unsettling ingredients. The skin of her kin, the blood of an innocent, which is why she ultimately kidnaps young Princess Emily. But the final crucial ingredient is the heart of my desire.
Which is not a romantic metaphor.
Not at all. Livia's desire is the ocean. She literally intends to carve out Alara's heart and steal Alara's Valkyrian body to return to the sea.
It is a chilling perversion of Alara's own desperate goal to get back to the water.
Right.
It forces Alara to confront what she might become if she lets her own desperation consume her.
So Alara teams up with Prince Tarbin and his inner circle of soldiers, his brother Hugo, their friend Philip. They track Livia deep into the forest, and this massive, violent confrontation ensues.
It's a great action sequence.
And through sheer grit and a bit of luck, they manage to stop Livia's ritual.
Yeah.
They defeat her. They save Emily. And the mortal heroes are catching their breath, thinking the nightmare is finally over.
But of course it isn't.
Right. Just as the dust settles, the true puppet master steps into the clearing to collect her due. Remember my suspicion earlier?
You were spot on. The crow arrives right under the light of the full moon.
And she doesn't just walk in to say hello. She uses dark magic to immediately resurrect the freshly killed corpses of Livia and Livia's accomplice, Magnus,
So gross.
turning them into these horrifying reanimated meat puppets. And then the crow just lays all her cards on the table. She was behind everything. She fed Livia the dark magic rituals. She admits that 22 years ago, she was the one who murdered Alara's father. The entire bargain, the romance, the specific deadline, the heartbreak, it was all an elaborate trap to force Alara to drop the magical wards around Ventelios.
Because the mechanics of Queen Kalinos's wards are absolute. They cannot be penetrated or broken from the outside, no matter how powerful the dark magic is. The crow needed a Trojan horse.
The Eldorus bloodline.
Right, precisely. The wards are tied to the royal Eldorus blood. The crow needed someone with that specific royal lineage Alara to voluntarily leave the kingdom.
Okay, but Alara didn't have her elevated powers yet.
Right, so the crow engineered this crucible of mortal danger. The witch knew that forcing Alara to survive in the mortal court, navigate a murder mystery, and fight a Selkie serial killer would force Alara's dormant magical abilities to finally awaken.
It's like, okay, the crow didn't just set up an elaborate line of dominoes over 22 years.
Yeah.
She generated this massive, invisible current of trauma and manipulation, knowing exactly how Alara's desperation would compel her to exhaust herself swimming against it until she was pulled out to see exactly where the witch wanted her.
She played Alara perfectly.
And to seal the trap, the crow uses those reanimated corpses to hold Prince Tarbin and the mortal allies hostage. She gives Alara the ultimate impossible choice.
Use your newly awakened royal magic to drop the wards of your homeland, letting my dark forces in, or watch the mortals you've come to love be ripped apart.
But before Alara has to make that horrific choice, the clearing essentially explodes.
The cavalry arrives.
Queen Kalyanasa and the fearsome veteran warriors just rip through a portal, and Sherring's description of this army is incredible.
It's so vivid.
They're armed with heavy tridents, wearing thick necklaces made of shark teeth, clad in shimmering gold-scale armor. It is literal aquatic warfare brought to land.
I loved it.
Complete chaos erupts in the forest between the Ventilios forces, the dark witches the crow brought with her, and the reanimated corpses.
But amidst the clash of tridents and dark magic, we get to the actual core thematic battle of the entire book. During the fight, Alara is struck by a blast of dark magic and gets knocked completely unconscious. And while her body is lying in the dirt, her mind is trapped in a hallucination.
This scene is so intense.
It is. She sees her grandmother, Kalyanasa, standing over her, and the hallucination just sneers at Alara, telling her she is a mistake, that she is defective, and most cruelly that Alara is the fundamental reason her own mother died.
Which hits so incredibly hard because, as the reader, you realize those aren't the witch's words.
No.
Those are the secret corrosive fears Alara has carried inside herself her entire life. She has always believed she was unlovable and broken.
Exactly. The physical curse on the kingdom was just a reflection of the psychological curse Alara placed on herself. The true climax isn't defeating the crow with a bigger blast of magic.
Right.
To break the external curse, Alara first has to break her own internalized self-doubt. She has to look at that hallucination, look at the physical manifestation of her trauma and feelings of worthlessness, and actively reject it. She has to finally trust her own inherent worth.
It is such a triumphant moment. She snaps awake, realizing the voice in her head is a lie. She fully embraces her elevated royal magic, which, by the way, manifests as the unique ability to manipulate and rewrite existing magical enchantments.
Such a cool power.
So cool. She looks at the massive barrier covering her homeland, and she drops the wards everywhere except inside the small witch's cottage where the fighting has converged.
Turning the barrier inside out.
Yes. She tricks the crow into stepping backward into a lethal, concentrated magical snare that just instantly vaporizes the witch.
It's a brilliant tactical manipulation of the magic system, and it relies entirely on Alara finally believing she is powerful enough to rewrite the rules.
So we emerge from the wreckage. The 22-year curse on Ventilios is finally shattered. The Mer can step out of their gilded fishbowl and explore the world.
A huge sigh of relief.
And back on the mortal shore, Prince Tarvin learns the truth. He finds out Alara is a Mer. He learns about the initial deceptive bargain to break his heart, and despite all of that, he still chooses her.
Yeah, he accepts all of her, magic and all.
And Alara, no longer bound by fear or hiding or that nasty sentinel potion, she dives freely into the ocean she loves, with Tarvin waiting for her on the shore.
It is a hard-won, deeply earned resolution. They both had to strip away the masks they wear for their respective courts to find something genuine.
Which is something I want you, the listener, to think about today.
Yeah.
When you look at Alara's journey, look at the bargains you make in your own life. How much of your true self do you actively hide to fit into the mortal courts of your workplace, your industry, or even just your social circles?
Oh, it's a great point.
Are you drinking a bitter metaphorical potion every single day just to survive in an environment that demands you suppress your nature?
Because the cost of that suppression is always higher than we think.
Always.
But, before we wrap up, we do have to talk about the epilogue.
Oh, man. The epilogue.
The heroes are celebrating, the curse is broken, but Sherring leaves us with one final lingering thread. The perspective shifts away from Alara, and we see a solitary, mysterious raven watching her dive into the ocean from a high cliff. And the raven's internal monologue notes that he is the thief who would rob her of that smile.
I literally got a physical chill down my spine when I read that.
It's so unsettling. It forces you to question the mechanics of dark magic in this world. Can a curse born of centuries of malice and ancient power ever truly be destroyed by a single act of violence?
Or does the magic simply change shape?
Exactly. If the crow's physical form was vanquished in that cottage whose eyes are looking through that raven.
Just when you think the surface of the water has finally calmed, you realize a new Leviathan is swimming up from the depths.
Such a good way to put it.
It really leaves you wondering if the debt to the dark magic has actually been paid, or if it was merely transferred to a new, more patient collector. I mean, we started this deep dive talking about how we expect our fantasy stories to be clean, Curses are broken, the wicked are punished, the good live happily. But in the world of cursed tides, the waters are always murkier than they seem.